session.
नमस्ते एंड जय हिंद। मैं आपका फ्रेंड और होस्ट डॉक्टर संदीप जुल्का वेलकम यू ऑल टू दिस वंडरफुल सेशन by none other than Brigadier Sanjeev. Sir is the Group Commander NCC Indore Group, or Sir has served in the Army for almost 30 years, and his main mission is to instill and inculcate leadership qualities in the NCC cadets. और एनसीसी कैडेट्स इतने सारी तादाद में आर्मी में जाते हैं एंड सम ऑफ देम हैव रिजन टू वेरी ग्रेट हाइट्स। तो क्यों ना हम डायरेक्टली उनसे सीखें हु हैव मास्टर्ड द आर्ट ऑफ लीडरशिप एंड विल हेल्प अस। जिंदगी में हर मोड़ पे आपको लीडरशिप क्वालिटीज चाहिए, तो आप क्यों ना अच्छे से हम इनसे जुड़ते हैं एंड सर का धन्यवाद देते हैं दैट ही इज देयर विद अस। Sir, we welcome you again, and the stage is yours, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Julka. Thank you. Let's hope that they learn from my experience. Okay, so we'll start now. I hope everybody can listen to me properly. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
राहुल, सर को माइक के पास आके बोलना है क्या थोड़ा सा और?
सर, हाँ बोलिए सर एक बार।
Okay, can you? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay,
ठीक सर।
great. Okay, okay. Leadership is not a rank. Leadership is not a position. Leadership is a decision. Leadership is a choice. So good evening and Jai Hind to all of you. Today, as you all are aware, we have joined together for this session, and I, at the beginning itself, wish to thank Dr. Julka for giving me this opportunity. And also, at the same time, I would like to compliment each one of you who have accepted his 21 days challenge. Now, this 21 days challenge, as people say that 21 days it takes to change your habit. And the very fact that you all have joined reflects your desire to do good in life. It shows your willingness to do good in life. And therefore, my compliments to each one of you. I'm indeed privileged to be addressing a group who are passionate and motivated, and they have a dream, to do well in life. I'm here to share my views, my perspective about NCC, and motivate you to join NCC as an option, which will perhaps help you to become good leaders of tomorrow. But before I begin, I just wish to say that, like Dr. Julka mentioned, I have put in around 35 years of service, and in these 35 years, I have got number of opportunities, in fact, on a daily basis, to lead men. And as a military leader, leading men is not that simple, because you have to literally lead your men to sure shot death at times in high-risk operations. With this in background, I wish to cover my talk under the heads. So first what we will do is, we will try and understand leader and leadership. Thereafter, we will be talking about, are the leaders born or are they made? And my bulk of the talk will be revolving around the important traits or attributes of a leader. And while doing so, I will also be telling you how NCC helps to become a great leader, a good leader. So the first thing, first, let's understand who is a leader. Now, as far as who is the leader, to understand that, you must define leader. You must define leadership. This is the first thing you must do. Once you have defined, then thereafter we will try to understand who is a leader. So, when I ask the students wherever I go, how will you define leader? And every student has got his own perspective about the definition. Somebody will say a leader is a person who has got followers. Somebody will say a leader is one who has done well in life, in business or any other field. Somebody will say that leader is a person who inspired me. So there are different kinds of definition. As far as the dictionary is concerned, dictionary defines the leader as a person who leads a group of people, an organization, or the nation. Then what is leadership? Leadership is the way a leader inspires people. And therefore, what you need to understand and define the leader the way you want. Once you have defined, you will understand that what kind of a leader you want to be in life. And therefore, I always say that perhaps this is the most important thing to define a leader. To my mind, a leader is a person who, through his leadership skills, inspires people or a group to accomplish tasks willingly. Now, underline this word willingly, and also for a common good. So, this is what I understand as a leader. Now, if you see, the leader alone cannot come up. So, leader has to have three basic ingredients, I'll say. So, first and foremost, there has to be a leader. And if there is a leader, there has to be follower. And if there is a follower, there has to be a context or a situation. So all these three combined will show what is your leadership skill, and then only leadership skill will come forth. So if I have to give an example, suppose there has been an accident on a road and a victim is lying on the road crying with pain, bleeding, and there is a group of people who are just watching him. And you are also one amongst those in that group. Now, when you take the lead and you start doing something to help the victim, you become a leader. All those people who are watching and you ask for the help to evacuate that victim, they become the follower. And of course, the accident or the accident site is the context or the situation. So this is what leadership means. Now, if we have to understand leadership, then leaderships are of different style. Leadership has what different style. So what I'll be doing is I'll be giving the same context. I'm trying to explain what are the different styles of leadership. There may be many styles, but I have put down on the screen 6 types of leadership. The first one, onto the top left, is the autocratic style of leadership, in which you lead through power. Now, this kind of a leadership style may be applicable with a certain group of people in certain kind of a situation. This may be applicable more in army or police force, where you have got a follower who are bounded by rules and regulation, and they are duty bound to obey the orders. So, if I have to talk about the context of accident, the context of the accident side, perhaps if you order the onlookers along with you, they may or they may not respond. So perhaps this kind of a leadership will not work out there. Then the second is a democratic style of leadership in which you work with consensus. So again, in this kind of a situation, you will not be waiting to get into the agreement to evacuate or help the victim. The third one is the creative thinkers or the visionary leaders. Again, coming back to this particular situation, a visionary leader or visionary style of leadership may not work out here because you have to take the action immediately. Perhaps later, this visionary kind of a leader, since he has seen the accident and it had happened because there was a pothole, so he may have the vision to improve or take action to ensure that those potholes are not existing anymore, but may not work in this particular context. Then there is the fourth kind of leadership is the pace setting leadership, in which you lead by example. Now, in this particular context, you are also, you have seen this accident and you take the lead to help the victim. You are struggling to help him and you motivate others to join you and help you so that the victim can be given first aid and evacuated. So this is the leadership side in which you have taken the lead, you have set the example, and you have helped. The fifth one is affiliative leaders who build relationship over a period of time. And once they build that kind of a relationship, they lead a team or a group. In this particular context, again, you don't have that kind of a time to build relationship. You have to act forthwith. And therefore, perhaps building relationship and this kind of a leadership style may not work. And the last one is a leadership style in which you coach your followers, you guide them, you advise them, and that's how they perform. Again, out here, perhaps you will not have that kind of a time to coach them or to advise them. So, what you need to understand is that there are various types of leadership which may be applicable in a particular situation to a particular group of people, but more importantly, it should suit your own personality, your own way of thinking, and that is the leadership style you should choose for yourself. So, in my next slide, you will listen to Sadhguru. He is talking about a type of leader or a type of leadership style, which is perhaps one of the better style of leadership. So,
what is being looked forward from a leader is he may not be a super human being. He may not know everything. He should be able to see things that other people don't see. Most leaders don't much, but they're able to see certain things that other people are missing. And they're able to put people together for a certain purpose that makes them leaders. Once you're in the position of leadership, every thought that you generate, every emotion that you generate, every action that you perform has an impact on many, many people. When this is so, it is extremely important that one who wishes to be a leader in some way focuses upon how needs within itself to, in some way, it has to transform itself. If we think the work that we're doing is important, it is most important that you should work upon yourself first.
So, what he is saying is, to be a leader, first you should be looking within. You should improve yourself. Okay. So we come to the next point we want to discuss is, are the leaders born or made? Now, leadership, the attributes, the traits, there are certain people who have got certain genetic advantages. They might have a very good personality. They may be very good at communication. They have that inbuilt ability to take the lead. But those people, those kind of a leader who are born are less. Most of the leaders are made. They are made through experience, through training, through coaching. Even the research in this aspect, which has been done over a period of time, and most of the researchers or the scientists, they agree that it's only around 30% of the leaders who are born, and rest 70% are made. So, even what next slide which I am going to show is what Manisha has mentioned about whether the leaders are born or the made. And this is a very famous video. You must watch and listen now.
I do not know whether leaders are born or leaders are made. There is a school of thought which says leaders are born. We have a population of 780 million people, and we procreate at the rate of one Australia every year. And yet, there is a shortage of leadership. If leaders are not born, then leaders made, which is my view. Give me a man with reasonable common sense and decency, you will make a leader.
So what Field Marshal Manisha mentioned, you give me a man with reasonable IQ, reasonable decency to listen, and we can make a leader out of him. And this is true, and that is what I too believe, that you give me a cadet and we will ensure that they are the leaders of future. And NCC plays a big role in making successful leaders. We'll see it later. Okay. If leaders are made, then what are the traits? What are the attributes of a leader? If you go through various books on leadership, if you go on websites, you will find numerous number of, in fact, traits and attributes. So I was just thinking before this presentation that what should be the important traits for a leader who are in the age bracket of, say, 70 to 25 or 15 to 25, school going and college going students. And what I have done is this. I have made D and C to the power 9. So I have got 1 D and 9 C's as a leader's attribute, which I'll be talking one by one. Now, if you notice in this particular slide, you will see the D, that is discipline, is in the center, and rest of the attributes are revolving around it. Because this is my personal belief that discipline is everything. Everything comes out of discipline. So, one by one, we will discuss each of these attributes. So, let's first discuss discipline. Okay. So, in army, We were told when we were in cadets, we were told that drill is the bedrock of discipline. And we used to wonder what he is talking about. Just by stamping feet and walking together, how can it be a bedrock of discipline? You see that photograph of a girl cadet saluting? This is what is drill. So it is quite late in service and life that I understood why people say that drill is the bedrock of discipline. It is bedrock of discipline because for drill, you have to get up early in the morning. Before you move out for the drill, you have to ensure that your beds are made properly. Once you are there on the ground, you have to warm up. Once you have warmed up in a group, you have to do the drill. And what is drill? Drill is basically a synchronized movement of a group of people. Now, when there is a synchronization, when there is a unity, that is what is discipline. So, now I understand why drill is called the bedrock of discipline. Now, if you see, everybody these days, students are addicted. And addicted to what? Addicted to their mobile, addicted to watching TV, addicted to eating junk foods, basically addicted to doing things which are not productive, which will not help you to become a great leader. A real person chooses to be addicted to discipline, which means walking early, praying, training, and embracing hardship without needing motivation. Leading to a strong life, peace, and respect built through relentless hard work and better habits. And remember, no excuses. Once you control over excuses, no crying, no blame, and making discipline part of your daily routine. In NCC 2, we lay a lot of stress on discipline. Discipline is not just taught, it is lived every single day. From the way you wear uniform, to the punctuality on your parade, to the respect you show to the rules and regulations and accountability, it all becomes your habit. Discipline becomes part of your personality. You are not disciplined because someone is watching you. You are disciplined because you learn to regulate yourself. This discipline reflects not just in uniform, but in your bearing and overall personality of a cadet. It reflects in academics, it reflects in sports, personal life, and definitely in your future careers. So just remember one thing, boys and girls, that discipline is the bridge between your goal and achievement. If you want to achieve something, you have to be disciplined in life. Just to show how NCC cadets work, what they do in NCC, I have got a small clipping for you of various activities, and most of the videos are from our NCC group of Indore. So just watch it. Okay, from here now we go to the next attribute, and that is the attribute of competence. What does competence mean? In today's fast-paced world, we often mistake busyness for effectiveness. But true competence is not just about doing a job, it is about doing it well. Competence is the combination of knowledge, skills, and attitude applied to get results. It is the ability to perform a task to a high standard and consistently. However, true competence goes deeper than just technical know-how. It is the ability to adapt to challenges, to solve problems, and to remain reliable when pressure is applied. Remember, it is to remain reliable when pressure is applied. A competent person brings not only their expertise, but also their judgment to the table. Becoming competent is not a final destination, but a process of continuous learning. It is moving from I hope I can do this to I know how to do this, and finally, I can do this with little thought. We must build our skills to not just meet the bare minimum, but to excel. We should strive for a cult of competence in our work, a dedication to mastering our craft. As psychologists have noted, competence is a fundamental drive that brings positive reinforcement. When we are good of what we do, I repeat, when we are good of what we do, we feel good about what we do. So, I will encourage all of you to invest in your skills, refine your knowledge, and develop your attitude. Build your competence, and trust will follow you. NCC is an organization which helps you in getting this competence. It provides you the platform. It provides you the competition. It provides you the mentorship, and you can actually become competent. You will only be aware of your competence, when you actually struggle with your peers who are equally good. You learn from each other, and that is what NCC does to you. Okay, the next attribute is the character. Character should be the foundation of everyone's life. Above all, the choices you make are evident in the way you conduct yourself. Character encompasses a person's nature and temperament, and it weaves these into strong, well-constructed fabric of a fully mobilized adult individual. The NCC builds character by instilling values like discipline, leadership, courage, comradeship, and selfless service, aiming to develop responsible, motivated youth with a secular outlook and spirit of adventure, preparing them for life and potential military service through structured training, challenges, and activities that foster integrity, resilience, and personal growth beyond academics. If I have to give an example of the character, so I will give you an example from Kargil War. Now, my unit, 17 Yard, was part of the operations in Kargil. And I just want to narrate a small little incident of that battle which we fought with the Pakistani on the icy mountains at the height of, say, 15,000 plus feet. So my unit was supposed to be attacking a feature, and while doing so, they came to a place where a lot of bombing and shelling was taking place. There was no cover. On top of it, there were accurate firing from machine gun. And in those shelling, one of the boy got injured. And when the shell lands, there are craters. So he was lying in that crater, injured, crying, or he was in terrible pain. And his buddy, because we all know that we work in one buddy system, there are at least 2 persons together at any one point of time. His buddy was hiding behind a rock, and it was a daylight. And he was trying to evacuate him every time, and every time there used to be a aim fire from the enemy post. And this boy was actually in pain. And in desperation, he was telling his buddy to kindly shoot him so that he can get free of the pain which he had to bear. And what his buddy was telling him, he was assuring him, don't worry, just hold on, and I will ensure that you get evacuated. I will ensure that you live. And this was happening, and then slowly and slowly, the darkness enveloped that area, and he went there, he pulled him back, and by that time, there were other soldiers who came, and he was evacuated. He was evacuated down. It took almost around 20 plus soldiers to evacuate him. He was given whatever necessary medical treatment, and thereafter he was evacuated down to the hospital. And he survived. Now, what do you learn from this? You learn the character of his body. He could have easily gone behind, but he refused. He kept on giving him that assurance that he will live. And he stood by his body. And that is what is character. That is what is courage. So remember, character is very important, and character is nothing but what you have learned from the beginning, from your home. If your parents have given you right kind of a teaching, you will have a good character, and a good character means that the nation will have a very good character. Okay, so with this, we come to our next attribute, and that is clarity. So clarity is one thing which is least understood. In army, there is a system of giving orders. Now, a lot of people say, what is there in the order? Order is basically a structured kind of a communication, which is very clear and which is understood by all in the shortest possible time. Right? And in NCC also, we have something known as fieldcraft and battlecraft. And this is the kind of orders which are taught to them. For example, a section is marching ahead, and there has been a fire from one of the trees nearby, and you have to return the fire. And so, what does section commander does? Section commander gives a very brief and concise order. Section or whomever he is addressing, say LMG group, आपके कहने 3 बजे 200 मीटर एक आम का पेड़, आम के पेड़ के पीछे दुश्मन, 2 राउंड फायर. Now you see, it is very concise. He has addressed to a particular group, he has told him where to fire, and he has told how many rounds to be fired. And that is the clarity, right? So, we often think that great leaders are charismatic, loud, and visionary. But if you look closely at most effective leaders, they possess much quieter yet far more powerful trait, that is clarity. In the world drowning in complexity, where we are overwhelmed by data and competing priorities, clarity is a competitive advantage. Clarity is not about dumping things down. It's about simplifying, distilling, and making the path forward unmistakable, what I talked about. As Einstein once said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. When a leader lacks clarity, the team feels it immediately. It leads to confusion, analysis paralysis, and wasted energy. But when a leader brings clarity, they act as a force multiplier. How do we lead this clarity? Like I said, you should be defining why, what, where, and when, very in very simple terms. You need not use high-flying jargons, but simple English which is understood by all. Remember this? When you confuse, you lose. But when you are clear, you inspire, align, and empower your team to succeed. And therefore, this is one of the very, very important attributes for a successful leader. Okay, with this, we come to the next attribute, and that is communication. In NCC, communication is a core leadership skill that enables cadets to influence group, coordinate activities, and achieve collective goals. The primary components of communication as a leadership skill with the NCC framework is clarity and active listening. Listening is very important. If you see, most of us are in the habit of talking. This is one art as part of communication you should learn. Because if you listen and allow others to talk, and once you have understood and give your point, perhaps it will be more acceptable to your followers or the group. Communication doesn't mean only a verbal communication. Communication also means non-verbal communication. A good leader uses body language, eye contact, and gestures, such as nodding or firm posture, to reinforce their authority and show engagement with the team. Assertiveness. NCC training encourages an assertive communication style that respects both the leader and the subordinate as opposite to aggressive or passive communication. Through communication, cadets also learn to give clear word of command during drills, which requires vocal strength and precise timing. Group coordination leadership is demonstrated in coordinating diverse groups during social service activities or competitive skills like obstacle crossing. Intercultural competence, participating in national integration camps, Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat camp. It teaches cadets to adapt their communication style for people from different linguistic and cultural backgrounds. This is a learning which no other organization can provide. Conflict resolution, again, effective communication allows cadet leaders to mediate disputes and negotiate responsibility within their team, which is bound to happen wherever there are a group of people. There has to be differences, and this is how where you learn through effective communication to sort out your problem within yourself. And what are the benefits of communication? It builds trust, it enhances your decision making, and it definitely boosts the morale of yourself and your followers. Okay, with this, I come to the next attribute, and that is courage. If you read the caption which is written out there, it says courage is complement of fear. A man who is fearless cannot be courageous. He is also a fool. So normally, what people understand by courage is a physical courage. You need to understand that any leader who says that he is not fearful, he is telling a lie, and that is what exactly Field Marshal Manisha also mentioned. So while narrating one of the incidents from World War II, when he was posted as a company commander in Burma, he says that there was a indisciplined Jawan called Swaran Singh, and he always used to create problems, and every time he used to be promoted because he used to do something or the other, his rank used to be taken away. So there was a conference in which they were again discussing, because a lot of deaths had taken place in that particular operation, and Swaran Singh name also figured. And Field Marshal Manisha at that point of time, as major, he said that they don't want making Swaran Singh, and this information went to Swaran Singh, and he was quite furious, and he was telling in his company that let the company commander come, I'll kill him. So the JCO or the Subedar of that company, he arrested him and he put him in the quarter guard or the jail which we have in our units. And this was informed to the field marshal. So he said, Swaran Singh ko mere paas lete aao, and there was a table which was placed, and Swaran Singh came, and Swaran Singh was trying to tell him, look, no, mere se galti ho gayi sahab, maaf kar do, I will not do it at all. And what Field Marshal Manisha did? He took out his pistol. He said, Swaran Singh, तुम हमको मारना चाहता है तो ये लो पिस्टल और अभी शूट करो. Swaran said, no, sir, it is not that way, and I don't want to at all. So the case was dismissed, and he was told let the Swaran Singh go. So he went. But still, JC was not very comfortable, and he was under some kind of a impression that Swaran Singh still may do something which will be detrimental for his company. So he put a sentry where Field Marshal Manisha used to stay. So he saw a sentry and he said, why this sentry? So the JCO tried to explain. Said, okay, ठीक है, sentry है. So Swaran Singh को sentry यहाँ. And Swaran Singh came. He was handed over the weapon, and he told Swaran Singh, तुम आज का रेप का सेंट्री है और सुबह 6 बजे मेरे को एक मग्गा चाय के साथ उठाना. And he went off to sleep. And for sure, in the morning, Swaran Singh came with a cup of tea and handed over, and he woke Field Marshal Manisha. Now, Field Marshal Manisha says that if you think that I was not fearful, I was not afraid, you are totally wrong. But as a leader, I can't show that fear to my troops. I have to instill that kind of a confidence that I am the leader. And therefore, I had to do what I did. And I had to take a calculated risk. And that is what is courage. Now, courage may be physical courage, it may be moral courage. But out of the two, if you ask me to choose, I will say mental or moral courage is more important. You have the general kind of a feeling that in army or the forces, you have very strong, physically strong people. No. I have seen myself in the Kargil war itself, when we saw people who were slightly weak in their outlook, who were they perhaps performed much better than the sportsmen. So it has to do with mental ability. You have to, as a leader, you should be courageous and you should be mentally also courageous and strong. So that is what I have to say as far as the courage is concerned. Now we come to one more video. So with this, we come to our next attribute, and that is commitment. Now, commitment is one leadership quality which means embodying core values like patriotism, discipline, and selfless service, demonstrated through punctuality, hard work, honesty, and leading by example in community service, and challenging situation, fostering character, social responsibility, and national unity among talent. You have to be what the video you saw. These are the cadets who have been performing in RDC. Why they have been selected? Because they were actually committed and committed to a particular cause. Commitment means that you have to have that kind of a passion that you want it. And I am reminded of a dialogue of Shah Rukh Khan, and wherever I go, and to my surprise, and happily so, that whenever I say, do you know that dialogue of Shah Rukh Khan? And all the cadets, they in one voice say yes. And what is that? जिस चीज को शिद्दत से चाहोगे पूरी कायनात लग जाती है उसे आपको दिलाने हैं. So if you are committed to certain things, what you wish, you will get it. And leadership, that is visible. You need to be committed. If you are committed, your team will be committed, and you will definitely achieve the desired result. Okay, with this, we come to the next, and that is consistency. Now, consistency is the core principle in NCC leadership, acting as the foundation for building discipline, trust, and character. Often summarized by the motto, NCC motto, which is unity and discipline. It involves a steadfast commitment to routine leadership, mentorship, ethical standard, and transform cadet into responsible citizens. Consistency means doing things time and time again, because practice makes a man perfect. So if you are consistent in getting up in the morning, if you are consistent in going for a walk or a jog in the morning, if you are consistent in studying every day and not just before the exam, I'm sure you are a good leader and you will definitely do well in life. So that is as far as the consistency is concerned, right? And the last but not the least is, it is last but one, compassion. Now, compassion in NCC integrates empathy and care with discipline, transforming leaders to focus on cadet well-being, fostering trust, teamwork, and self-service beyond just command, making them more effective by connecting with cadets' need, encouraging growth, and building stronger, more resilient, and socially responsible individuals ready to serve the nation with a human touch evident in activities like community service drive. NCC, one of the pillars of NCC is social service and community development. And what it teaches you as a leadership is first, empathy and understanding, building trust and connection, courage to care, service with purpose. And what does it manifest into? It manifests into mentorship, community initiative, supporting training, developing holistic citizens. And it leads to a stronger team, reduced attrition, and effective leadership. You will see now few of the social service and community activities which NCC undertakes, and you get plethora of activities to do. Just have a look to this video. Congratulations, Cam. Okay. Now, but not the least, the change. And for the change, before I speak, I want you to listen to a beautiful video which talks about change. And perhaps once you listen to it, I will not have to say much on it. Just listen to it.
Jack Welch once said, change before you have to. How true that is. Championship leaders understand that in order to remain relevant and competitive, they must foster a culture that embraces change. When you think about the brands that have been around for 100+ years, how they looked in the beginning is much different than how they look now. They've changed. The brands they once competed with no longer exist. Why? They didn't change. Grace Hopper once said, the most dangerous phrase in language is, we've always done it this way. As the leader, you must relentlessly fight this mindset. Don't allow your team to focus on how things used to be, because used to be don't become. Instead, focus on how things are gonna be. Gonna be's become. Gonna be's have a clear vision of the future and how they need to grow in order to become that better version of themselves. They understand constant growth requires constant change. Remember what John Maxwell once said. Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. Close your eyes and visualize what things will look like in 3 years. How will you need to evolve in order to meet that vision and be a front runner in your space when time comes? What changes do you need to make? Start making those changes now. As the leader, you have the remote. If you don't like the channel you're on, nobody can change it but you. So stand up and change it.
Don't be afraid of the naysayers. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, do what you feel is right, or you will be criticized anyways. Trust your instincts. Pursue your vision. Even if no one else sees it, just start the journey. The others will follow. And stay ready. New levels will bring new devils. But the higher you climb, the stronger you'll get. Take pride in being a professional problem solver as you rise. Remind your team that every change you make is an effort to get better. You don't change for the sake of changing. Like Jim Rohn said, life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. At the core behind every big change is a why. And that why is to get better.
Okay, so you have, I'm sure, understood what the change means in leadership. Change as an attribute of leadership, often termed change leadership, is the ability to productively anticipate, initiate, manage, and adapt to organizational transformation rather than merely reacting to it. It is a strategic, people-oriented approach that focuses on inspiring, motivating, and guiding teams through disruptions. An effective change leader is often described as a catalyst, someone who embodies the change they wish to see and empowers others to do the same. And what does it entail? It entails primarily adaptability and agility as a leader. The capability to adjust new situation and thrive in volatile and uncertain environment is adaptability, and challenging existing assumptions, asking the right questions, and making fast decisions based on current changing data is agility. In NCC, this is again one attribute which you learn because there are constant changes depending on the situation which develops, because NCC is a group from various institutions, various schools who come together, and they have different ideas, different views, and the best one has to be adopted. And therefore, there has to be a lot of change. And this you learn only and only in NCC. So this is what I had to speak about as far as leadership and leader is concerned. So to conclude, I would say that NCC is a leadership laboratory. As a cadet, you don't just follow orders, you give them. You command a drill, you lead a team in camp, you organize events, you take responsibility for your peers. When you stand in front of 50 cadets and give command, you learn confidence. When you manage a camp of 500 cadets, you learn organizing skills. When you solve problems in the field, you learn the crisis management. I have personally commanded soldiers, and I can tell you the leadership skills you gain in NCC stays with you for life. They help you in interviews, in jobs, in family, and in society. Leadership is not about title or rank, which I mentioned earlier. It is about influence. NCC teaches you how to influence positively. NCC builds leaders and leadership qualities for life. And you see those three pictures of three young girl cadets. What does it say? Excellence in every detail, hard work, dedication, and pride in every step. Great leaders are not defined by absence of weakness, but rather by presence of clear strength. And last but not the least, NCC gives you numerous opportunities to achieve goals. There will be successes, there will be failure. NCC teaches to embrace both with grace. even in failures, you learn leadership. And that is what is important in life. So that's all I have to say, boys and girls. If you have any question, please shoot.
So before we take questions, sir, it was a wonderful session, sir. I kept on listening to the wonderful anecdotes, especially the one with the buddy who really waited through and kept his buddy's morale up. And thank you for your service to the nation. And through you, we would like to thank all men and women in uniform for really guarding the borders. And we salute you all. And the motto of NCC says unity and discipline. And probably that is what is going to take through our country into a Viksit Bharat. Unity, diversity, and having discipline. Um, if there are some questions, we can. Just wanted to ask you, sir, is it still a fact that the C certificate, a candidate who's got a C certificate can directly go through the SSB without the written exam?
Yes, that is true. But there is a quota. There are fixed number of seats for C certificate. And I think in the entire country, it is 100. 100 cadets can directly join. Though more number of cadets can appear for the SSB. But as far as the vacancy is concerned, 100 cadets are enrolled for under this scheme of C certificate.
So, we have seen several podcasts. We see a lot of ex-servicemen coming onto the social media now. And for the first time, we get to hear various stories.
So, sorry, I can't hear you. I think, yeah.
So I was saying, sir,
Yeah.
lots of veterans have coming onto the social media now and sharing their stories about valor. I have grown into a Fauji Parivar. My father was in artillery and he commanded 9 MP battalion in 90s. And that is what I have this jazba that to give back to the nation. I think what every citizen of India needs to know is that it is always country first. And that famous saying that ask not what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. So I think, sir, if there are any questions, we'll take them, or just some concluding remarks from your side, sir.
So I just have to say that the kind of work which you are doing, I'm sure you in your own way is contributing to the society the way NCC does. And this kind of event which you have organized and you keep organizing, it is really motivating, not only for the youngsters, but also we like in the middle ages to learn and to get into this kind of a habit of giving back to the society. And if we all join hand, I'm sure the dream of Viksit Bharat by 2047 it is not far. We all need to join hands and contribute in our small ways to ensure that our country prosper. Small little things what you do, like they say, कि बूंद बूंद से तालाब भरता है. So similarly, small little things you do. Whether I find that perhaps few things which youngsters should ensure, which they are very fond of. One is traffic, in the traffic of Indore. So they are all fond of riding bikes and all. So if you follow traffic rules, if you follow the correct wear the helmet, you are contributing in your small little way as youngsters to make this place or make the country better place to live and prosper. So that is all I have to say. So keep doing the good work. I see lot of josh, lot of passion amongst the youngsters. This is one age, whatever I always keep saying that our children, they don't listen to the parents. But when the same thing is told by somebody else, it has more meaning to them. They tend to follow, they tend to imbibe. And this kind of talk, this kind of interaction with youth, I'm sure it's going to help them be a better citizen of tomorrow, better leaders of tomorrow. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, After this, I think if I ask how is the Josh, everybody is going to say hi, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir, and hope to connect with you soon. Thank you and Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Julka, and thank you all the youngsters who are listening and who have participated in it. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, and soon we will see and talk again on something else. Right? Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you,
so
sir.
much, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Parmeet. Thank you, Swati and Rahul.